of you who have not yet met me, my name is Daryl Finizio, and I am a candidate in the Democratic Party for mayor of the City of New London. And this is the new position of mayor in the City of New London. And one of the things that I hope to do today, at the beginning of the discussion, is outline some of the roles and powers of this new office as it relates to education. This is an entirely new position. It's the first time in almost 100 years that the City of New London is going to be able to directly elect its own executive. And while overwhelmingly 75% of the public approved the creation of this new office, one of the things that we have learned going around as this campaign has started is that the actual specifics of what this office can do and cannot do are not yet fully known by the public. So that is one of the primary reasons why we are hosting these town hall meetings, is also to educate the public as to what this new office is going to be able to do. So I'll certainly lead off with a very brief introduction on that, and then also give you a very brief, hopefully, introduction on what my stances are in education, why I came to some of those conclusions with some of my experiences, and then obviously we'll open it up to your questions, comments, concerns. When I announced for this office a month ago, one of the things I said is that it's not enough in creating this new office merely to elect one person to it. We have to formulate a comprehensive city plan, a long-term plan for our future. So when I announced, I didn't just say, here I am, here's my resume I'd like to run. I also released a 40-page proposed comprehensive plan for the City of New London that I called A Vision for New London, to invoke the imagery of a long-term approach and a long-term strategy to how we improve the lives of people throughout our community. However, I also said that my ideas, particularly in January at the start of an election, are not intended at all to be the end of the conversation about our future, but only the beginning. And that throughout the campaign we will be hosting, hi Art, welcome, we will be hosting town hall meetings on every single subsection of that platform, not only to outline what this mayor can do, not only to give you what my ideas are, but to hear from you as well, to gain your input, to hear your criticisms, to respond to your questions, so that through the process of this campaign, we not only elect someone to public office, but we formulate a good community-oriented plan for our future. And I said that was how hopefully we will turn what begins as a vision for New London into our vision for New London, because that's what we need. So, where's the starting point for today's conversation? Well, first, the new mayor of New London, the new strong mayor of New London, is going to have an advocacy role in education. The new mayor is going to sit as an ex officio non-voting member of the Board of Education. So the mayor is not going to have, and we all need to be very clear about this, is not going to have direct authority to vote over specifics within the education budget or with the hiring process of the school system administration. So it would be disingenuous, dishonest for any mayoral candidate to say, I will be able to exactly do X, Y, Z, because the mayor is not going to have direct control. However, the ex officio membership on the board, in my opinion, is still a very powerful position of advocacy for several reasons. First, the mayor is going to have access, as any member of the Board of Education would, to information within the education system. We'll be privy not only to the discussions taking place in the public meetings of the board, but also will be able to participate in the confidential meetings of the board, in any hiring process that goes on for a new superintendent, and so on and so forth. And as someone who, as mayor, would be recognized as a community-wide leader, it affords the mayor an opportunity to get information to the public about what is going on in the education system. And also through the position on the board, a powerful position to advocate for meaningful reform within the system itself. So that is one role that the mayor will play. The other is that the mayor will propose to the city council the bottom line figure of the budget. And I have clarified this, and this is the opinion that I've gotten from the finance director, Mr. Lathrop, and I believe it's accurate. The mayor will not have the authority to cut or change specific line items within that budget. the mayor could reduce the overall appropriation of the school budget, and we can talk about when and where and how that may or may not be advisable. But the mayor would not be able to specify, if the mayor instituted a particular cut, where within the educational budget those cuts could be made. State law also prohibits the mayor or the council from reducing any appropriation below a prior year's appropriation. So if the appropriation was $36 million and it went to 40, the mayor or the council could cut it back to 38, but could not cut it to 35 because it would be below the previous year's amount, according to state law. So we need to be clear on the financial aspect of the mayor's role. But, more importantly, another charter change was approved last November. In addition to creating a strong mayor form of government, the voters, the people of the City of New London, voted to separate the education budget from the municipal budget for purposes of budget referendums. So now, the funding of the education system can be, on its own, as a standalone item, subjected to public referendum. And that puts a significant burden upon the education system to defend and represent its budget in an honest, meaningful way to the public, to gain confidence that public money is being spent where it needs to be spent to get the results that we all desire from our system. In that potential referendum fight that may come, the mayor is going to be a critical political voice. The mayor is going to be the political leader of the city. And as a result, if the school budget were being challenged and the mayor had participated in that budget preparation as a non-voting member of the board, understood it, had confidence in it, and was able to go out and defend it to the public and campaign aggressively for it, it is more likely that a referendum to cut the budget might fail. But if the mayor suggests meaningful reforms in that budget, and reforms are not taken, and public confidence cannot be garnered, the mayor may or may not campaign for it, and some mayors may choose to even campaign against it, in which case referendums could pass and funding could be cut. So while this position is not going to have direct authority over individual systematic decisions, the advocacy role of the mayor should not be underestimated. If used properly, this individual can be a strong advocate for reform and will play a critical role in any of the battles and discussions that may come in the future about education funding. So, hi Jason, come on in. Welcome, welcome. So, that is what the mayor will structurally be able to do and what the mayor will be able to advocate for. Now here's what I believe is a good starting point for a conversation for some of the things that we should consider. I've outlined in my platform, which we have copies of, and if you haven't read it yet or haven't gotten a copy, believe me, we have plenty for everybody, several different things. And here it is, so you can take it for yourself if you want. It is a bit extensive, but you can take it bite-size by bite-size, and my email is on there, my phone number is on there, and if you have other questions outside of today's forum, not just about education, but about anything I've written or proposed, please contact me. I'm happy to respond in any form that's convenient to you or meet with you individually. But here are some of the things I talked about in regards to education. First, we have to honestly confront, not just in education, but in all issues facing our community, a realistic appraisal of how we are doing. If the goal of our education system is to graduate all students with minimal competencies to be able to secure jobs, if the goal of our education system is to encourage more people to go to college, if the goal of our education system is to have top quality facilities and modern facilities for our students to learn in, then by any reasonable measure, if our charge is to provide a good quality education to our community's children, we are failing in this mission. And we all know it. We know it. But politics interferes often with an honest assessment of where we are. Who wants to go out and admit we're not where we need to be? Because if you're in political office, that means maybe I'm not doing enough. If you're in the education system, you feel that the hard work you're pouring in isn't being valued. And there is a lot being done that is good. But we also need to know that we should not settle for mediocrity. It is not enough merely to set a bar of let's do what we minimally have to do to survive, to keep accreditation, to not lose our ADA funding from the federal government, and so on and so forth. That's the immediate crisis. But we should not aspire merely to avoid the immediate crisis. We should aspire to excellence in our system. And we should not settle for anything less. Because if we do, we're failing our children. So first and foremost, I believe we have to recognize that we're not where we need to be and confront that honestly and openly.